Number 2.
Actually, before we get to number 2,
Okay.
no, we're going to jump
Let's
into
go.
number 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Lucky number 2.
Ooh. I love this question because it's literally the basis of what Hot Perspectives is about, what this show is about. What is one courageous conversation that training leaders should be having today? Just one.
A courageous conversation, leaders. But I will have to ask you, what kind of leaders are you talking about? Because when we look at...
We're on the topic of training.
Yes.
So we'll keep it at kind of, let's say you're in charge of leading training for your brand.
Having those conversations with the people that, whoever it is, either the franchisor, director of operations, or vice president, or whoever that person is, are we on the same page? What are the values? What are we looking for? What is the message? What is it that we need to get there? And that conversation should be, or is, if you disagree with something is not working well, have that honest, open, and transparent conversation. Let them know.
Yeah.
Let them know if something is not working. Have you analyzed the market? Have you seen what the company has done before? Is it working? Is it moving the needle?
So the courageous conversation, if I'm hearing you right, is around, are we moving the needle? Are we on the same page?
Are you open to hear
feedback
from your team, from your franchisees? Are these ideas or this training, this module just coming from you because that's what you think? Are you at the store level to know what's happening?
Yeah, you just inspired my answer to that question. And it's a question that I have pop up in my mind from time to time. And it's a question I would probably encourage more franchise leaders to ask themselves and their teams, their leadership teams. And the question is, how are decisions made around here? And the reason that I think is a great grounding question to open the conversation is it provides hopefully an opportunity to analyze things like feedback loops. What are we measuring with KPIs? How does my team know how to disagree with me? Am I open to hearing something that feels like a disagreement? I think it's a good reflective question to have, and a question that I hope people who are listening will take a moment to pause and reflect on.
Because that's the problem, leadership. There's a lot of people with a lot of positions and titles that they're not leaders.
They lack the experience. And that's the thing, right? I've definitely met some great leaders in my time. And
I'm seeing one right now.
Thank you. I've met some really great leaders, franchise leaders over my time. And the thing that separates a average okay leader from a powerful, inspiring leader is a couple of things. One, they're able to create a space for sharing. A safe space for sharing, for giving and receiving feedback. They prioritize spending time with the people that they lead. Doesn't have to be every day, every week, but some level of consistency in checking in with their people. Consistency, right?
Consistency. And checking in.
And the third thing is, we all go through ups and downs. We're all human beings, but I think when you're a leader, you have to take that responsibility for being inspiring, being motivating, being a coach to the people that you're leading, helping show them the way when they've lost their way, asking the harder questions.
You say something important. You say, show them the way when they lost the way. But I'll go back a little more. Did they show you the way? Did they even do that? Maybe they think they did. Maybe they think they're doing something. But when that doesn't happen, and then the expectations, what are they? When you start a position, is it important for you as an employee to know what you're expected to do? So you know if you can meet the expectations or even exceed it. I know you're someone who likes to exceed expectations.
Yeah.
Wow. But when they're not clear, when they're not given to you, how do you measure that? And then how do you how do you lose the way when the way was never paid or shown to you?
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up that word, expectations, because it is an important word. And if I think back to those powerful, inspiring leaders, they did have expectations.
And they were clear.
And there was a level of accountability as well, right? On both sides.
Absolutely.
So thank you for bringing up that word, expectations. That's a good one. Now, going back to the point on courageous conversations, because I think it really is needed in professional development, personal development, as well as business. We talked about creating safe spaces for those courageous conversations to happen. What's one thing that has worked with you as a leader or working with great leaders? What's one thing that's worked to help create that safe space for the conversation?
Me as a leader, making sure that people know that they can approach me, that they are heard, that they pay attention to what they have to say. That is important to me to do. Now, when I am on the other side, that I have to deal with a leader, my approach has always been approach to them and say, hey, you know what? Something happened. Let's talk this out. The problem is, as you say, sometimes you find leaders, you find that person who's open and willing and not afraid and accountable and, know how to deal with those situations. But then you find that person who's afraid, not secure about their job, and they just don't want to take responsibility, and they're just closed down. And it's hard.
It does make it hard because uncomfortable conversations are uncomfortable for a reason.
And that's okay.
For a reason. And the natural, I think, human default is to avoid, right? Avoid the discomfort, avoid the potential conflict. But what's something that you've done or you've seen that has been, I mean, we have 15 years of friendship and relationship between us. And I can tell our audience, we've had to navigate some uncomfortable conversations. Yeah. And so maybe I can share, an example where then the first thing you have to do is get honest, right? Check in with yourself first. How do I feel right now? Why do I feel like this right now? What is it that I want to say and communicate? What's the message that I want to get across? Is this a conversation I have to have? What are the consequences if I don't have this conversation? those self-reflective questions,
what I'm looking for.
it helps to, I think, build confidence through clarity and set you up for whether this is a conversation I want to have or not, especially after a conflict. Now, if you said yes and you want to move forward, I think leading with vulnerability and letting someone know, hey, I need to say something. I want us to have a conversation. I'm a little nervous about it.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to say. Is this a good time to have the conversation? That's important too.
Yeah, don't drop it.
Don't just blindside people and think everything's just going to be good. You have to also check in with that person. Is now a good time to have that conversation? Can we talk? And just leading with that level of vulnerability, I believe helps open the space for that.
Absolutely. But then again, I mean, you can have those conversations, making sure, and having it at the right time. Because I'm pretty sure if you get to that point to have a conversation, you were feeling a certain way.
Yeah.
And that's not the right time to have that conversation. Go through that self-reflection.
Yes.
It's like when you send an email.
Yes.
When you get an email and you just want to go and send it back right now. Wait. Hold it for a moment.
Yeah.
Give yourself some time, then read it again. I was like, okay, maybe not. Maybe share it with somebody else. Like I have with you many times.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Yes.
Do I sound, is this personal? Is this factual? Is this, you need to make sure that when you go there, when you have that conversation is factual. It can be emotional, but don't make it emotional. It's not about me. It's what happened. Sure, as you say how you feel without blaming anyone, without pointing fingers or anyone.
Yeah.
Show vulnerability, accountability.
Yes.
If there's anything.
And don't be afraid to apologize. If you need to apologize for something,
exactly.
just apologize for it. Yeah.
But then I ask you a question within that question. What happened when you're having that conversation and you see the other person does not even acknowledge the conversation?
Well, conversation takes two people, right?
Takes two to tango.
It does. And so as we navigate life, we grow in discernment, we feel energy, we feel vibes, and we know when maybe it's time to take a step back. But the last point I'll make on that before we move on to our next question is I love that you brought in the sounding board. Being able to unpack a difficult conversation or a difficult situation with someone that you trust that isn't going to use it against you later, who maybe doesn't sign your paycheck or can sabotage your career.
Mm-hmm.
Having that trusted companion, counsel, advisor, it's been very important and valuable for me.
And for me.
It's like therapy for business.
It is.
It's like pretty much therapy for business. Yes. Workplace therapist, pretty much. And I hope that more leaders lean into coaches and consultants to have that sounding board, especially when they're navigating uncomfortable conversations. I think there's tremendous value to that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that.